All right. Next up, we've got Alabama and Mississippi State. Yes, here we go. Alabama trying to regroup, pick up the pieces following that stunning defeat in College Station last weekend to Texas A&M. Alabama 17-point road favorites, 57.5 the total in this game. Will they pick up the pieces is the question. We've now seen Alabama on the road in SEC play twice this year. Nearly 0-2 straight up in those games because they nearly lost to Florida. They won by 2. And then, of course, we saw what happened against Texas A&M. So 2 games on the SEC road for Alabama. They nearly lost 1 against Florida, didn't cover. And, of course, last week against A&M, lost outright as favorites in this price range. I'm reluctant to even bounce back spot, even considering the bounce back spot to late 17 here with Alabama this week against Mississippi State. And Leach's team, it's one-dimensional. I worry about like these gimmicky offenses against Alabama. I worry about them working, and I know Will Rogers and that Mike Leach pass air raid attacks gotten better as the season's progressed. And, you compare recent opponents, right? A&M beats Alabama and Mississippi State beats A&M. So there you go. I mean, Mississippi State beat A&M and Alabama just lost to A&M. So it's fascinating here. I will say this, 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread for Alabama under Nick Saban, their last 5 games off a loss. And they have been very, very good in bounce. So this is a tricky game. I don't think I can trust Alabama laying this much on the road because now 2 SEC road games, Florida and A&M, life and death to win both games. And, of course, they lose the game last week. But at the same time, Mississippi State, probably not quite on Florida's level and probably not quite on A&M's level. They're not quite on that level. So it's a really, really tricky game for me to wrap my head around it. But very interesting one to talk about because obviously we're getting Alabama here in a spot they're not in often, and that's trying to bounce back off a defeat. What do you think here, Conor? Alabama, Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think Alabama knows that those 2 SEC road games barely won and then lost. And the big key though is right away you talk. I want to stay off, but just Saban off a loss, he's going to be so fucking pissed off. Probably, they always bounce back. It seems like I'd be back on Bama maybe early. This first half we talked about finally lost. I think it went 10-1 last year, something like that, and then it's 4-1. I go right back to it. I think Saban. I think they jump out early and on them. But yeah, you got to be worried about this road play with this team, and the defense started to look pedestrian there. It did against Florida a little bit. So man, I don't know. Maybe you either pass or like I said, be on them first half as if they come out real hot.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see what ends up happening here in this one. How's Alabama respond? Because they don't get punched in the mouth like that very often.